What's going on YouTube? I wanted to make a video about Adrien Broner. You know, I heard he got arrested again. No surprise there. It's no regular Broner shit. And you know, I've seen, you know, what's going on with Floyd recently and Gervonta Davis and everything like that. I saw his reaction. You know, I saw him with Floyd. I seen everything. So I'm aware of everything that's going on. The reason why I'm doing this video though is because, you know, I just wanted to give you my opinion on why Broner is the way he is. I don't know him personally. I don't know his upbringing. I don't know why. But I know this is very familiar. Okay? I know the way he acts is very familiar to me. Alright? And I'll get more into that later. But when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, right? And a lot of people loves to attach Floyd to Adrien Broner. You know, we can easily just sit here and pinpoint why Adrien Broner is the way that he is. And a lot of people like to point the finger at Floyd Mayweather. Not because Floyd specifically did something. It's just that we all know that Adrien Broner idolizes Floyd. Okay? He likes to imitate Floyd in many ways. We all know that. He loves Floyd, all right? I believe Broner looks at Floyd like a father figure, you know, not like a big bro, but like a father figure. You know, I think it's that real. You know, I know Broner has his dad, but he doesn't seem to have a strong bond with him, okay? He rarely ever speaks about him. And the only time I see him with his father is when his father's holding his brush after a fight is over. You know, heavyset guy, clearly he's not about staying in shape. And you know, I can never imagine me asking my father to brush my hair. You know, I couldn't say that, so he probably slapped the shit out of me. But you know, that's different. I'm not trying to bash his father or anything, but I just don't see, there's no point in Broner's career where I said, oh, you know, him and his father's close. You know, and not everybody has to have that Sean Porter relationship or Robert Guerrero's relationship with their dad. You know, not everybody needs that. You know, I mean, look at Floyd's relationship with his dad. Has been up and down, up and down throughout his whole career. You know, not everybody will have the same relationship with their pops. But there's nothing about Adrien Broner that makes me think he respects his dad. Or looks, well, maybe, I wouldn't say respect. Respect is not the right word. But there's nothing there that makes me feel that Broner looks up to his father. So you have Floyd Mayweather there. But the thing is, when people bring up Floyd, whenever Adrien Broner does something stupid, people bring up Floyd like it's Floyd's fault, or Broner is this way because, you know, he's influenced by Floyd Mayweather. And that's not right. It's not right. You know, I know it's pretty popular now to bash Floyd Mayweather. You know, a lot of people hated him because he didn't fight Manny Pacquiao, and they feel that he wasn't fighting the people that they wanted him to fight. But now it's about, you know, Floyd is retired, and people are not a fan of, you know, they don't really like what he said, you know, when in regards to politics and, you know, the racial tension that's going on. And that's understandable. You know, you don't have to agree with him. You don't have to agree with Floyd Mayweather, you know, but I see what's going on, you know, and it's wrong to take this guy and make it seem like Floyd is a bad influence. No one ever says, when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, you know, and listen, I've made videos about Floyd. If Floyd, I'm not no Floyd, you know, I'm not no major super Floyd fan to a point where I can't point out the things I don't like about him. I do all the time. You know, there's plenty of times that I've ranted about Floyd Mayweather and the people he's fought and some of the things he's done. All right, I did it recently when he went out and talked bad about Virgil Hunter the way he did and Andre Ward. I made a video on that. But we can't just say, oh, look at Adrien Broner trying to emulate Floyd, trying to copy his lifestyle, stuff like that. Well, what about all of the good things that Floyd has done as far as being a role model? All right, I mean, he's one of the greatest fighters ever. He's one of the greatest talents ever. Whether you like him or not, he is. Okay, in this era, he's at least the best in his era, and he's arguably best in any era. You can make the argument. And Adrien Broner has borrowed some things in the ring that Floyd has done. So that's one way you can say that he had a positive influence on Adrien Broner, because Adrien Broner he's a multi-champion in different weight classes. He's won titles at least 3 or 4 or 5 times. So he's at least an elite fighter. He's good enough to be an elite fighter. You know, he's not the best or whatever, but he's very good boxer, right? To win titles that many times in different weight classes. So you got to at least give him that. You know, and another thing, you know, Broner does have like 7 kids or whatever. I don't know the exact amount, but he has a lot of kids. And I think he's a bad influence for his children. I believe that. You know, I think Broner is still living in a way where it's about him. You know, being suicidal, knowing you have all this, you know, your kids to take care of, and getting in this kind of trouble, making poor decisions over and over again, knowing you have children, knowing that they look up to you. All right, Floyd is not Adrien Broner's dad. He shouldn't be responsible. He shouldn't be held responsible for whatever Adrien Broner does. It's ridiculous that people continue to bring Floyd up every single time Broner does something. But going back to my point before, how do I get off the highway? Going back to my point before, Floyd Mayweather has never done anything, at least in my eyes, that made me feel that he was a bad father. You know, all his children, I mean, I know one of his child's moms, he started a couple of business with them, and, you know, he seems to help out the people that's around him. And when it comes to his children, he's always, you know, I don't know much about his kids, but I mean, there's nothing there that would make me think he's a bad father. I've seen him plenty of time with all of his children. You know, not just the woman that he's with or the woman that he's with that he has children with. No, he's always with all of his children. You know, I see them all the time. Whenever they had a special, his kids were all in the special. I mean, he could be just doing that for the camera. I don't know. But there's nothing there. There's nothing that Floyd, yeah, he's been arrested before for domestic violence or whatever. But, you know, he's not constantly doing this stuff. You can't compare Floyd to Broner. People like to compare Broner to Floyd, a younger Floyd. Floyd was never like Adrien Broner. He was never like Adrien Broner. He wasn't videotaping himself sleeping with 2 strippers, videotaping it. I don't know if they were strippers or prostitutes. I don't know what they were, but whatever. He wasn't doing this kind of stuff that Broner's doing. He's not. He was never at a point. We shouldn't even say, just saying that Broner's like a younger Floyd is disrespecting Floyd, because Floyd was never like that guy. Adrien Broner is his own man. Let's stop acting like he's a child. He's not a child. Okay, Floyd, as far as I'm concerned, Floyd Mayweather is not even old enough to be his father. Technically, it was a 12-year difference between them in age. He's not even old enough to be his father. Yeah, we know there's people that have kids that young, but that's ridiculous to have kids that young. So let's just say that Broner is the way he is because that's Broner. There's plenty of other guys that get in trouble with the law constantly, having a bunch of kids. It's the same. He's one of many. He's one of many. You know, Broner is the way he is because of Broner. He's not going to change. You know, every time that we think there's hope for him, you know, the thing about Broner, and I hope none of my family watches this video, because I never get personal like this, but Broner reminds me of a lot of people I know. I have relatives that are similar to him, just can't stay out of trouble. Every time you see them, I'm trying to get my life, trying to get my job, I'm trying to get this together. That's Broner. Broner reminds me of the crackhead that's trying to stay clean. I have a relative all my life. I lived with her when I was very young. When I was born in the Bronx. I was born in Lincoln Hospital. I lived in the South Bronx, in the worst area of the Bronx. I lived on 146 in Willis in the 80s. When you think Chicago's bad now, look up those records of how bad the Bronx was back in the day. Chicago doesn't even compare to how bad it was back then. I used to hear gunshots going off all the time. I remember that. And I had a relative that lived with me because I was staying with my grandmother at the time. My parents, thank God, they had good jobs. They were working hard. And they finally made enough to move me out of that area. And then I moved to the suburbs. But when I was living with them, with my grandmother, I had a relative that was on drugs. This is when she was on crack. This was the crack era. This was the 80s. You know how it is. And she got caught up in that. And I used to find it. I never even tell my parents this. I used to find it and throw it in the garbage in the apartment. And the reason why I'm bringing her up is because I seen her just this past month, because I went to the institution. She's staying, how drug addicts are. They always in a program. They get, they always get in trouble. And they send them to a program, whatever. But I recently went to go see her because I had to drop off some clothes and some things she needed. And it's messed up because she's in the younger 50s and she's still talking the same way. I'm going to get my life together. I'm trying to get my life together, and what she looked like this month, 10 years ago, she looked bad 10 years ago, but she looks even worse now. And then 10 years before that, she looked bad then, but she looks, she looked worse 10 years after that. Like every decade goes by and she's still talking about, trying to get herself together. And I hope one day she does, but her body, she's riding away. And she's still talking like, I got to get my stuff together. You already know the typical dope fiend around your way. If you come from that kind of environment, you know what I'm talking about. If you have a raging alcoholic in your family, you know what I'm talking about. The guy that's the person that's trying to stay sober. You could put them in jail. You could put them in some kind of institution, some kind of program, all you want. But once they're out, they don't know what else to go to. And Broner reminds me, or a person that just stays living a crime life. They don't know how to stay good. They can't, because they've been arrested all their life. They've been doing it since childhood, since they were juvies. And they go into their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, still living the same way, still getting locked up. Everybody in the family waiting for them to come home, just so they could go right back to prison. Every time you see them, I'm trying to get my life together, trying to do better. Then you find out normal people don't get caught up in the stuff that Broner is doing. Normal people don't be riding around in vans with gunshots in it. It's just not. You ain't see, like, I ain't riding around here with it's not one of those things that just happens. At some point, we just gotta say Broner is the way that he is because that's just him. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what it's like. I don't know. It could be the money, because when he was fighting at 135, we hear about Broner getting in this kind of trouble. I remember when Broner used to come to the ring and he used to have his little fake jewelry on and all that. Remember when his chain was fake? He had that Brian Pumper chain. He was coming in the ring, winning. I remember that Broner. But when the chains got real and the jewels and the diamonds was shining, that's where all the trouble began. You know why? Because money changes people, man. Some people can't handle it, especially when you didn't come from anything good. You had a decent life growing up, and then you become rich, but you had a lot of nice things before you got rich. You'll be okay with it. You'll know how to deal with it better. But guys like Broner, and you got to understand, being a black American, and yes, race has a lot to do with it, because it's common, because we glorify a lot of shit that, let's be real, people glorify here, and black Americans, not Africans, not, West Indians. I'm talking about people born and raised here, especially in New York. We glorify a lot of stuff that he do, but then bash him for it. But there's plenty of rappers and stuff out there that do the same shit, and people are like, yeah, well, at least he's living what he rap about. I mean, he's doing this, but at least he's living, at least he ain't faking it. Does it really matter? If it's wrong, it's wrong. Why does it matter if he's real? And I don't get the mentality of that, people that think that way. But, that's a whole nother video. I can go deep into that. I don't want to. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Dudes here glorify a lot of stuff that Broner do. Now, we might call him a clown. We might do, and people don't respect him because, like the video with him calling Mayweather a bitch. And, that's another reason why Floyd, at this point, I wouldn't even deal with that guy. Because the guy could just, out of nowhere, go on a video and just rant about him. And Floyd's still cool with the dude. You still in the same room with this dude. You got him on Facebook Live or Instagram Live or whatever. I wouldn't even want to be around this dude. Yet Floyd came back in there when this guy was suicidal. He's back with him still. Whenever Broner goes on his little crazy rants about Floyd, guess what? Floyd's still there. Is Floyd really that bad of a guy? Yeah, there's a lot of things that he say and do, but you know what? Floyd, his life, he's a celebrity. Everything he does, every mistake he makes in life, every bad choice he makes in life, anytime he says something goes a little too far in an interview, we're there to sit here and discredit him for it. Nobody got a camera on us all day. Nobody sees what kind of woman we sleep with, or how we're living, if we're paying our bills on time, getting evicted, jobless. I'm sure there's a lot of losers on YouTube that's on YouTube, and they're sitting there bashing Floyd and Adrien Broner when they're living a worse kind of life. I mean, listen. Floyd is a boxer. What he thinks about politics, I don't give a shit. How he feels about anything that's unrelated to boxing, I don't care. This guy's name, but what I will say, this guy's name should not be attached to Adrien Broner. Whenever Broner messes up, it's because Broner messes up. Broner has a girlfriend. He got a bunch of kids. He's not living for himself anymore. But he's still acting like he's living for himself. And we all got to stop what we're doing and help Broner out. What about who's helping his kids out? And I hope his watch, because I know, I don't know if he watches my videos, but I know people in his camp watch my videos because I ran into them. I ain't gonna say who, but I ran into y'all. I seen y'all. I don't know if he watches my video. I don't ask, but I know y'all watch my shit. And I hope he watches this because he needs to get his shit together. And I don't know if anybody around him is telling him. And you know what? People might be around him telling him, but Broner's gonna do what he wants to do. If you got more money and you're being more successful than all of these other people that's around you, how are you gonna grow? How are you gonna grow? How are you gonna grow? He just might not know, and you got to remember, guys, he's still in his 20s, okay? Some people finally get it. Some people take longer than others. This lifestyle that Broner's living, I went through that phase. I went through a lot of phases. That's a part of life. Go through phases. I used to spend money on dumb shit all the time. And I used to be that guy in the club buying bottles and stuff like that. till I realized how stupid it was and that it wasn't me. Thank God I had a father. That's what I say, I go back to his father. I don't know what his life was like growing up. You know, when my father saw me come in the house with a bandana on my head, he slapped that shit off. He slapped it across the other side of the room. That's how hard he slapped me. You know, when I came and when he saw me walking around here with my pants sagging, he made me pull them up. When I was messing up at school, he sat in the back of the classroom, made me do push-ups in front of everybody. Broner didn't have that. I can tell he didn't have that. I know he didn't have that. You know? But, I mean, growing up, I still got, you know what it is? The thing about growing up in life is, you know, and I know I'm just rambling now, but whatever. Y'all gotta watch it anyway. Y'all gonna listen anyway. The thing about life is you grow up, you got to be smart enough to make decisions on your own because your parents are there to mold you. Then at some point, you're going to be old enough to see things your way. You're going to take some of the things that your parents taught you that you feel is necessary. And then you're going to leave some things out because your parents are not perfect neither. But when you're in your 20s, some things you got to learn on your own. You know, when I was out here, you know, going out, all these people that I thought was my friends, everything. You know, dating all these girls, seeing all these girls, spending all this money. I thought it was cool. You know, I was happy. I thought I was happy. Then when I started realizing that these people were just using me because I had a little bit more money than them. And I was just there. They wanted to be around me because I made them look good. I was like, all right, let me start cutting people off. You know, I can't be around these kind of people. I got to be around people that's doing at least what I'm doing or better. But you live and you learn, you know. Some people got to go through the phase themselves and learn on their own. And that's what I did. That's what I've done and still doing it. You know, I'm in my early 30s, you know, still doing it. You know, I don't know what's going to happen to Adrien Broner, you know? I mean, this will be my last video talking about him and what he does outside of boxing. You know? But he seems to be the only one, like, he's the center of attention when it comes to stuff out unrelated to fighting. He's always in the mix. That's not normal. You know? I have 5 sisters. I got to set an example for them. 4 of them are younger than me. None of them have kids. You know? Because they have standards. And they're going to hold on to their standards. They're going to continue traveling the world, doing all the things they want to do. They're not going to try to take a guy that ain't shit and try to turn him into something good. That's not how it works. You know, I don't know. You know, when I seen that whole thing with Floyd Mayweather, and I'm gonna end it because I'm just talking now. But when I seen that whole thing with Floyd a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, what does his baby mom's, his girlfriend think when she see this? Does she like how does Robert Easter and all these people that surround him think when they see Broner acting this way? How do they continue to respect him? You know? What does Broner think about it? You know? I don't know, man. You know, and you know, people bring up money like, you know, he's money, you're doing well. Some people do worse when they get money, man. I remember I got my first highest pay raise. Man, before I got that raise, remember I was talking about bottles and stuff? I wasn't like that until after I got my raise. When I got my raise, man, listen. Before I got my raise, I was so conscious of my credit score. You know, the amount of money I had my savings, my bills being paid super early. I was putting so much, the 1 or 2 credit cards I had, I was putting so much money and clearing them out quickly. I had my I had my rent and just paying my little cell phone. I had my couple bills. As soon as I got more money, since I got that big raise, started doing things a little different. Started shopping a little more, going out a little more, partying a little harder. you know. Started doing different things, you know, but nothing to a point to where I destroyed myself. And that's part of your 20s. That's part of growing up, man. But Adrien Broner, the problem is he's living that lifestyle, that culture that we have here, to be fly, flashy, having all these whips, getting all these chicks. You know, he's living that lifestyle. But when it's over, whether you know, whether when it comes to sex, you know, when it's partying, when people that just want to be around you because they just trying to look good. They want to take a selfie with you for they could post it on their social media to make them look like somebody. That's what people do. Everybody's about fronting now. Everybody's not about working hard. Everybody's like, you know what? I'm going to make it look like I got money. You know how many times I could have made videos? You know what? I'm not going to say that. But, yo, people want to just make it look good. They don't want to be good. They want to make it look good. And he's all wrapped up in that shit. He got to get out of that. I don't know what he has to do. I don't know if he can do it. I don't know. And, you know, these other young fighters, you know, I'm glad that we have the Andre Wards of the world, the Keith Thurmans. I made a video about that already. Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. You know, I wish they were bigger than what they are. Even Andre Ward, and he's kind of big, but I wish they were bigger and more respected, because I like the way they live their life. You know, I saw that special. I saw Sean. You know, he's not a flashy dude. You know, I'm not much of a fan of his suits, but you know, you know, I'm not. You know, Keith Thurman was driving a Prius and playing a flute. You know, he come off as weird. I remember when he was fighting Danny Garcia, and dudes was talking about how he was wearing his Timbs and trying to look good, and all that dudes in the crowd, hecklers. Like, man, let that man do what he wants to do. At the end of the day, he's making $1 million, over $1 million or $2 million per fight. Andre Ward has been with the same wife, has a beautiful family, is never getting arrested, never getting any kind of trouble. He's a role model. Those are the guys I think you should follow. Never getting any kind of trouble, don't have to be flashy, got millions. These guys got millions, and they're chilling. That's a great role model. You don't have to be this and that. And it's not bad to be that either. Not saying it's don't. And it's not like, you know, I brought up black Americans. I'm not acting like that's the only people that do it. No, all kind of people do it. But it's like a culture with us, though. If guys get a large amount of money, what is the first thing they do? They want to go to the strip club. They want to blow it on in the Gucci store, you know, and go to Gucci, Louis Vuitton. You don't want to save none of it. They don't want to invest in nothing. Some of them still live at home. Video's becoming really too long, and I'm almost home now. I'll be parking in a minute. Yeah, man, I wanted to talk about it. It's really bigger than Adrien Broner, but I don't know. I just feel like getting that out there. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to do Jamel Charlo and Hatley breakdown because I wanted to get some time to watch Hatley. I've seen Hatley fight before, but not enough for me to give a breakdown, you know. I'll try to upload one either tonight or tomorrow before I go to the fight. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to the fight tomorrow. So anyway, y'all have a good night, man. Have a great weekend, and I'll check y'all in the next video. Peace.